All right, so interesting report came last week, at the end of the week, that Russia and Saudi Arabia working together about really decreasing the flow of oil, the production, which could ultimately mean the raising of prices, which the report said is exactly what they wanted to do. But will it happen? Ed Welch is on from AAA. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Bill. Welcome back from vacation.
Yeah, listen, it's been an interesting, I had 3 weeks of vacation this summer. Each week was prepping our house. We're selling our house. So my wife had a honey-do list that was enormous. And this week I actually finished all that up, and we're actually putting our house on the market today, as a matter of fact.
Well, always remember, you don't really own your house. It owns you.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, and by the way, how about travel had to be huge this past weekend, just based on the weather alone, at least in our neck of the woods.
It was, and it was just tremendous. A little problem along the coast, along the coast, the East Coast, because of the hurricane that had gone through there. And actually, I saw a report yesterday where some TV station put an evacuation notice on Long Island. On the crawler that goes on the bottom.
Yeah.
And somebody ran that by mistake for a few minutes over the weekend.
Wow.
Good thing about New Yorkers, they're skeptical, so they just looked at it and said, really?
Yeah.
So some other parts of the country, people might have panicked.
Well, it was interesting, too, because I knew people that went to Virginia Beach, and they ended up having to leave early because the winds and the rain and the worry of what was going to happen. And who knows? Maybe that changed the travel, but people were still traveling this weekend. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the end of summer, and certainly, people want to get in whatever time they have left before we all get into the fall season here, which is really right upon us.
All right, what do you think about this report on the Russians and the Saudis trying to raise the price of oil? Do you think it's going to work?
Well, OPEC just met over the past few days in Vienna, and the Saudi oil minister, Khalid al-Falih, he said that OPEC did not agree to a cartel-wide production quota range. Now, he also said that he thinks $60 a barrel is possible by the year's end. He says $50 a barrel is not enough to attract investment in exploration and in oil fields. Now, what's interesting is on the Russian side of the house, they've suffered. Their economy has suffered greatly from tumbling oil prices in 2014. The value of the ruble is on par with the peso, and really the sanctions that have gone against them because of their belligerent acquisitions in the Ukraine and other places have really hurt their economy. So the Russians are trying to do anything and everything to get themselves back up. It's interesting. All the governmental overthrows in Russia in history were due to economic reasons. So that's how the Tsar got kicked out, if you want to go way back.
Right.
But what's also interesting is the Saudis, they're always in the driver's seat. In 2014, they were producing about 9.5 million barrels of oil a day. They're up to 10.2 million per day right now. So they've ramped up production over the last 2 years. While everybody else, they were trying to crush everybody else. They don't want to lose any market share. The Saudis claim they could pump 12.5 million barrels a day if they wanted to. There's no way to substantiate that, but that's what they've claimed over the years. And everyone needs to remember it costs them $10 or $11 a barrel to pull it out of the ground.
Right,
they're literally floating on it. So for them, when oil drops down to $25, $27 a barrel like it was earlier this year, they're still making money while everybody else is in the poorhouse. And a good example of the poorhouse, of course, is what happened in Venezuela and Nigeria. Both of those economies have collapsed.
Right.
And you've got unrest in Venezuela, and they're about to have a civil war down there, and Nigeria is not too much better off. So the bottom line is that oil prices need to come up for these people to survive. And $50 a barrel right now, that seems to be the trend line. Now, what's interesting, Bill, is when we got down into the 30s, over the past 2 years, 82 oil companies stopped producing in the United States. What the big wild card has been the shale oil. We're the third largest producer of oil on the planet right now, which we have we've gone through decades where we were not even in the top 6 or 7.
Right.
So what's happened now is the Saudis wanted to depress the price enough to where people would stop pumping. You know, the difference, of course, is if it's costing us $40 a barrel to bring it out of the ground, they're not going to bring it out of the ground. They're not going to pump oil to lose money.
Right.
You know, it's not how we do things in America.
Sure.
So what's interesting about circling back around, the Russians and the Saudis tried this strategic alliance back in 2000. People don't remember, is the early part of 1999, oil was actually down into a buck and change per gallon. And there was obviously a big concern about things back then. So things circled back around. The Saudis and the Russians tried to create a strategic alliance. And, you know, it did a little bit for them. But, again, you know, the marketplace is so big that it kind of drives itself.
Are we going?
Russians are not in a position to drive the price of oil. The Saudis are.
Are we going to? Do you think we're going to? I mean, obviously, Labor Day's over, so the price goes down, right? Normally.
Yeah, right. Right now, we're sitting on a lot of oil. You know, the real reason they're doing this, Bill, is because of Iran. The Iranians, of course, were shut out of the game for quite a while because of our embargoes.
Right.
And of course, now that that has been lifted, the Iranians are trying to bring oil back up to their we'll just say, embargo levels, and they're heading there quickly. And the Iranians are sitting on a lot of oil. And of course, it's not in the Russians or the Saudis' best interest economically for the Iranians to be selling lots of oil.
Right.
So I think part of the strategic alliance here is trying to figure out how to box out Iran a little bit or get them to play ball with them. So I think that's what this is really all about in the long term. So you think that, but the Russians will do just about anything right now to get the price of oil up.
So you think it's unknown whether these low prices remain, or if maybe they're successful and the price jacks up?
Exactly, and here's the wild card. The wild card is us. Right. If Texas and Oklahoma and places like that start coming back online, when we turn the faucet back on, that the cycle starts over again. You know, we are truly in the driver's seat for our own energy needs because we have all these oil fields now with the shale oil ready to go. And, of course, 20, 30 years ago, that was not the case. Right. So, you know, that is the big wild card. At $50 a barrel, our people make money. So, you know, you would think strategically somebody would say, you know what, I'm okay at $2.25 a gallon, and I'm okay with you at $50 a barrel, and let's make some money and have a little energy independence. That would probably not be a bad strategy for the country. You want to make a prediction on gas prices, what we're going to see over the next 3 to 6 months? Yeah, I think by the time we get into, we'll just call it the early fall, when the leaves are changing, we'll be back down below $2 a gallon, and the question will be how long it stays there. Yeah. There's another OPEC meeting in November. And just like in 2014's November meeting where OPEC said they were not going to cut production, that meeting will have a lot of bearing on what happens in 2017. Yeah.
Ed, you know, I know on the program this past weekend on Auto Talk, you talked about these self-driving cars and cars that can brake themselves. Something we haven't heard much about lately is this vehicles that don't need gas to run. I mean, is that industry, that market for fully electric vehicles, is that starting to fade away? No, it's going to go the other way, Jeff. And what's these car companies have invested enormous sums of money into this technology, and really they're waiting for the battery breakthrough. The Chevy Bolt will be coming out early or later this year. That vehicle claims to have a 200-mile range and be in the $30,000 range. Wow. That is what the marketplace is looking for. People have range anxiety. You know, we talk about that on my show, and it's if you're driving 30 or 40 miles a day, and the battery's good for 100 miles, it's really not a problem, is it? You just can't take that car and drive it to Virginia Beach, let's say. Right. So I think what people will do eventually is they'll understand that, you know what, I need a commuter car that's electric cheap car, and then I need a regular car to go do what I got to do. Much like the family had a sedan and a station wagon in the old days, or a minivan, or they had a pickup truck. Right. They'll change the utility of things, and I really think that technology has a big role to play in the future of the price of oil. I think the battery issue.
I think when the next big thing that Apple comes out with, and maybe it won't be Apple, but it'll be somebody, is the phone with a battery that can be charged in seconds. You know the Apple Pen? You plug it into the iPad when the battery goes dead, and within 2 minutes it has almost a full charge. I mean,
yeah, and really that's part of the deal here. People don't want to wait 10 hours for the thing to charge up.
Right.
I'm reading where some of these will get to 70-80% charge in 2 or 3 hours now. So that's really what's driving the market. The technology, what you're going to see is an improved technology in the hybrid market. For example, rear-wheel drive of the vehicle will be electrically powered through hybrid technology, and it'll have a front-wheel drive normal propulsion system as we know it. So what will happen is it'll turn on the electric motors in the back when you need four-wheel drive.
Wow.
And that's how this is really going to get ramped up. Is that same componentry would be the exact same as an electric car.
Wow.
Except, of course, it'll just be like half and half. And that's really where I think the market's going to go over the next few years. The EPA is still saying 55 miles per gallon by 2025. You're not lessening the rules. The only way that gets there is if you have electric propulsion.
Got it.
So that's really the bottom line. So how this affects oil prices? Well, right now electric cars are not big enough to do anything as far as on the demand of gasoline. But that could change over the next few years. A big market's going to be electric bicycles, and you're going to see a lot more of those coming. The bicycle market is getting huge. As a matter of fact, I'll give a shameless plug for AAA. We now cover bicycles for regular members for free.
Wow.
So if you have a bicycle and you end up in a ditch or something, or you get a flat tire, we'll come and get you just like you would your car.
Awesome.
I just love that we won't even pedal our own bikes anymore. They got to be electric.
That's when I become a bike rider right there.
Well, they're big in Europe, and you can see them online. There's all kinds of makes and models of them, and that market's going to get big. As a matter of fact, if I've seen guys in Utica with gasoline-powered bicycles. I've seen probably half a dozen of them in the city.
Very, very interesting. And you know that if these electric cars become the norm, that would mean gas prices would plummet, right?
That's right, Bill.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you got to say to yourself, well, where's all the electricity going to come from? Well, they want you, obviously, to use off-peak electricity at night to charge these things up when there's not much demand.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that there's a good balancing act to this. We really could solve all our own energy problems if we really wanted to.
All right. Auto Talk is on WIBX every Saturday morning. Ed Welch, it's 9 a.m., by the way. Ed Welch, thanks for the time. Interesting stuff. These next few years are going to be really, really amazing, I think. So.